Well, everyone, Valentine's Day is around the corner, and I heard that Chick-fil-A is bringing back their heart-shaped trays of nuggets. By the way, a heart full of nuggets was also the result of Trump's last MRI.
Attack because of the propaganda apparatus of the Democrat Party. It just has no place else to go. It's a McDonald's joke. It's McNuggets. It's the new toys that are the old toys at McDonald's. And somehow I knew it was going to become a Trump joke. Somehow, fairly predictable. Trump derangement syndrome. It is insurmountable. The very severely mentally ill Democrats, the SMIDs, the SMID Democrats. Very unwell are they, very, very unwell. And a very good hump day to you, a very good Wednesday. Welcome back once again. Don't want to be in the Clinton household today, unless you're Bill, of course, in which case. And that means, what does that mean here? That means that it's mailbag day, mailbag day. In fact, I think Kevin is still collecting mailbag questions. I think he's still collecting mailbag questions. But we have a good deal of mayhem. Alex Pretty, latest martyr hero of the Democrat Party, packing a gun, bringing extra ammo. You know, I was thinking about his second magazine. I'm guessing that his 6 Sauer 9mm pistol came with 2 magazines in the box. That'd be perfectly normal, right? And he packed them both up. Probably didn't have any more than that. Went with the maximum amount of ammo that he could conveniently carry, not loose bullets in his pockets, but 2 loaded magazines. And why? Maybe he was expecting a gunfight. Maybe he, because he is a nurse at the VA hospital and all that. But Alex Pretty was in earlier confrontation with federal agents who tackled him. Broke his rib, had a broken rib. That brings me back to McDonald's, because I think they're bringing back the McRib sandwich. Aren't they bringing back the McRib? I think they are. But that's the beginning. CNN is very spun up about this because they're CNN, and they've got a lot of very serious issues, Not journalistically speaking, of course, nothing there. Great stuff. And also Tom Homan, border czar. He's up there in Minnesota. He's in Minneapolis, and he had a meeting, a powwow, if you will. That's a Native American term. Had a powwow with Jacob Fry, the left-wing Democrat mayor of Minneapolis, who likes violence and riots, and they're all kind of nuts. You know, the governor's wife loves the smell of the city burning. Loves the smell of tires burning and buildings burning. Opens the bedroom windows at night to smell the riots because they're Democrats, and they're not like normal people, not at all. But Jacob Fry to Tom Homan. Minneapolis, listen to this. Minneapolis will not enforce federal immigration laws. They will not enforce federal immigration laws. And it's pretty funny because Britt Hume of the Fox News Channel, formerly of ABC News, longtime ABC News guy, but he's on Team America, Britt Hume. And he said, Fry, talking about Democrat Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, Fry is not being asked to enforce federal immigration laws. He's being asked to prevent sometimes violent protesters from interfering with federal immigration authorities as they enforce those laws. See, the common sense, a little bit of common sense there. But the Democrats, they don't have any of that stuff because they're just mental. They're severely mental. They're very, very mental people, I've got to say. So we've got that. But Tom Homan in Minnesota now and meeting with the governor, President Trump on the phone with the governor of Tim Walz, who the Democrats wanted to be vice president of the United States and a heartbeat away from the Oval Office. Not good at choosing leaders, the Democrat Party, not at all. Really remarkable stuff. And Jacob Fry, I made it clear, Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration law. You don't enforce any laws at all, certainly not federal immigration laws. What laws do you enforce? You got the child rapists out there forcibly sodomizing a little boy, forcibly sodomizing a little girl, and the Democrats out there rioting in the streets to make sure that the illegal alien sodomite is loose for another day, so they can keep, doing what they do. You know how they are. And in Philadelphia, they've got a George Soros prosecutor there, as we see so frequently around the country. Larry Krasner is his name. Philadelphia DA, George Soros guy, Larry Krasner, vows to hunt down ICE agents in city. He vows to hunt down ICE agents in city, while Eric Swalwell, running for governor in California, which has completely lost its nut. Eric Swalwell vows to revoke ICE officers' driver's licenses, and he says if he becomes governor, he'll revoke driver's licenses of federal law enforcement for some inexplicable reason. And in addition to that, he's going to make sure that no ICE officers get jobs of any kind in the state of California with the state of California. And he's like, yeah, good luck getting your job when you don't have a car to drive and don't have a driver's license. And then he called them a-holes, he called them. And they always do this unfiltered now because they're Democrats. And they love cursing up a storm. That's who they are. They've got that. Also, you see the Democrat in Arizona out there harassing young girls in the street because they stopped to have their pictures taken with ICE agents. And a Democrat political leader in Arizona was calling them, screaming at them and calling them the most obscene words that you can call a young woman. And he's a Democrat. He's in political power. And the words that he's using cannot be used here. But we've got that coming up. Now, he's not to be confused, of course, with the Democrat in the state of Ohio who's running for Attorney General. He's running for Attorney General. He wants to be the chief law enforcement officer in the state of Ohio, one of our 50 states. And he, while running for elected office, is pledging to, quote, kill Donald Trump, end quote, to kill Donald Trump. And he wants to be the chief law enforcement officer, a Democrat in the state of Ohio. And he says he wants to kill Donald Trump. First, he's going to accuse him of some ginned-up crime, and then he's going to make sure that he's convicted by a lynch mob jury, and he's going to be a death penalty case with capital punishment, and then he's going to execute Donald Trump in the electric chair or firing squad or something. But this is how you run for office when you're a Democrat. They want the Civil War back. They want to fire on Fort Sumter and bring back slavery. This time around, their slaves are the illegal aliens who are cheap labor for them, and they sleep in the backyard. You don't have to do much for them. Isn't that amazing? So but this Democrat, this guy's really something. Say he's going to kill Donald Trump. That's what he said, and he said those words. I have the audio for you. He made video saying that he's going to kill Donald Trump. He's very proud of saying he's going to kill Donald Trump because he's got a conviction leading to capital punishment. And that's perfectly normal. Elliot Forhan, Democrat candidate for Ohio Attorney General, chief law enforcement officer. And the Democrats all see this, and they're good with it. The New York Times sees it. CNN sees it. They're fine with it. Maybe George Stephanopoulos hasn't seen it because he's at ABC and they don't follow the news over there. But all the Democrats at NBC and CBS, they see the Democrat in Ohio saying he's going to kill Donald Trump, bragging about it, going to execute him after finding him guilty of something that will be named later, just like the KGB and Lavrenti Beria. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. They're the left. They're a lynch mob, and they're a bloodthirsty lot, aren't they? And I've got that audio for you because Elliot Forhan, candidate for Ohio Attorney General, he said, and he begins by saying, I want to tell you what I mean when I say that I'm going to kill Donald Trump. This is what he says. It reminiscent of the Democrat in Virginia, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, who announced when he was running for office that he wanted to shoot the Republican Speaker of the State House in the head twice. And if he had two bullets, what was it? And he had Hitler and Pol Pot and the Republican leader in the House, that he'd use both bullets on the Republican. And then I think he wanted to kill his children, too, Ray. He wanted to kill his children. And then the Democrats voted for him to become the chief law enforcement officer in Virginia. And that's okay with ABC News and with the New York Times as well, because, the incendiary rhetoric is just a metaphorical thing, and it's a one-way street, obviously, very much a one-way street. So we've got the Democrat Party. They are the party of the American Civil War. when they wanted to keep their slaves and bullwhips and plantations and all that is associated with that. So we've got that going on, and the Democrats. I am telling you, these guys. Can I just tell you, these people are really something. They're Democrats. They call themselves Democrats, and so we've got that. We've got a lot more as well because those rascally Democrats. Also, did you see Ilhan Omar, the beetle-munching jihadi from beautiful Somalia, downtown Mogadishu, and she was holding a silly little town hall of some kind. There was a guy in the front row, right there in the front row of her gathering with not very many people for her town hall, and a man got up and walked up to her, and everybody keeps saying sprayed her, but really he squirted her. Apparently had a big syringe of some kind and squirted something that witnesses who were in the room said smelled like vinegar. So maybe it's a salad dressing of some kind. Thought that she needed a little dressing. A guy walked up and squirted something on her, and the news media is acting like it's the end of the world. It's the end of civilization. It's not like she was shot by a Bernie Sanders volunteer like Congressman Steve Scalise was. But never mind that. There are all kinds of questions about this. Is it a Juicy Smollett kind of moment? Was it staged? Did she give him a wink and a nod before he got up? He's in the front row, right on the aisle, as close to the podium as any person in the room could be. And it was quite remarkable that she kind of walked toward the guy, a big white security guy with a bald head, tackled or pulled the bad guy out of the way. And it's a fascinating circumstance with a lot of questions hanging. That's what I say. I apologize. Getting a little throaty this morning. I don't know why exactly. A little throaty, though. So I've got that going. Yes, sir. And we've got Ilhan Omar. What's going on? Is it a Juicy Smollett moment? Is it faked? And the President Trump was asked about it, and he said he hadn't seen the video. But he said right out of the gate, he's got good gut instincts for these things. He said probably had her self-sprayed. Probably had her self-sprayed. Ha, ha, ha. And President Trump, he's got good instincts when it comes to these things. And he might just be onto something because people are raising all kinds of questions looking at the video. And she said some pretty weird. So the whole thing was weird for a number of reasons, but it is Ilhan Omar after all. There's some cursing going on and so on. And people are saying, you need to get checked. I think they meant to say you need to get checked out. But you need to get checked. I think maybe they're talking she likes to have checks signed by rich people so that she can buy wineries and things like that. But Omar very bravely said, no, we will continue with a couple of dozen people in the room. And the people are yelling, and she said, no, I need a napkin to know nothing. She said, I need a napkin to know nothing. That's I don't think she does need a napkin to know nothing, quite honestly. I think she can know nothing without a napkin. I think she has been napkinless all of these years, and she, she's napkinless, and still she knows nothing. Isn't that just fine? I think she should be able to know nothing just like that. So we've got Ilhan Omar, kind of fun. President Trump was in Iowa yesterday. He gave a speech talking about what the Democrats dubbed the affordability crisis. Everything has to be a crisis, right? And they call it the affordability crisis. And President Trump is talking about paying less for stuff. As paying less for stuff is one of the things that he wants to do, and that's good because paying less is good. That's what I think most people really want. And the Democrats, they've got another thing going altogether. Yes, sir. And the U.S. Capitol Police very involved in the so-called attack on Ilhan Omar. We've got that coming up. And I've got to say that the signs in the streets and the protesters, the rioters, all of that good crazy stuff. All these professionally made signs, and the Party for Socialism and Liberation, they're out there in the streets. They're the commies. They want to do away with capitalism. Capitalism is their target. Got to do away with. Hey, wait, that was some people yapping over there. And they got all these professionally made signs and all this crazy stuff. And the American people still in favor of deporting all immigrants that are here illegally, even according to the New York Times and CBS News. But they're not going to report that for you. We've got that coming up. And look out for the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the communists that want you to read Vladimir Lenin and Karl Marx. That's right there on their website. And they want to do away with capitalism because capitalism is the problem, according to this wing of the Democrat Party. While, of course, Ilhan Omar, she went from, $5 net worth to tens of millions of dollars in net worth. It's good to be a Democrat. Isn't that great? So we've got updates from Minnesota to Washington, D.C. to Iowa and the mayhem that the Democrats sow. And of course, running for office in Ohio as a Democrat, promise that you'll kill Donald Trump. That'll put you in good with the party. We are at 888-630-9625, and it's Mailbag Day, too. And we have returned. Yeah, we got Eric Swalwell. He's not on the side of police, I think that'd be fair to say, or law and order. He's a Democrat. And what was in the syringe that was squirted? Everybody keeps saying sprayed at her. She was sprayed. No, she was squirted with some liquid out of a syringe that the New York Times and the Associated Press both said smelled like vinegar. And I won't do any, Summer's Eve jokes, but the vinegar doesn't sound very very threatening. The behavior was all very peculiar in a variety of ways. I'm sure you've seen the video, and there are several different videos and angles like everything else. No ICE agents involved, but Ilhan Omar. Peculiar behavior during the course of this. With that said, I know people want to talk about this. We're at 888-630-9625. Let's go to Chris calling from Long Island, New York. Christopher, you are on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
I'm good. What do you know?
Okay. Well, what I know is an acting coach somewhere is roaming around unemployed today in Minneapolis. Uh-huh. First thing I saw when I looked at that video, I noticed as human behavior, the hands didn't go up. She didn't wipe her face, and in a hostile environment that is going on now, somebody sprays something even on your clothes, you're going to turn around and run like hell behind the podium and tear that shirt off because it could be battery acid, it could be a toxin, it could be poison. The fact that she turned around and just played right into it was embarrassingly obvious.
Yeah, more on that coming right up. And we have returned. My apologies to Chris. I didn't watch the clock closely enough. Entirely my fault. Should have had more time for you. We're right now talking about Ilhan Omar, an incident at an alleged town hall meeting yesterday where a man seated in the number one seat in the room in the front row on the aisle closer to the podium than anyone else in the room. And when Ilhan Omar, I'll play the audio for you, when Ilhan Omar announced that Kristi Noem has to be, she has to resign or be impeached, be removed from office, Department of Homeland Security Secretary, and Ilhan Omar is talking about that. When this guy gets up, and it's a peculiar, there are a number of videos again, and one of them looks like people are raising questions. Did Ilhan Omar give the guy in the front row a wink and a nod? Did she give him a signal, a high sign, like Jussie Smollett, to get up and pull off this event where he had a syringe, didn't spray, squirted. Every media person is calling it spray. She was sprayed with something. She was squirted apparently with a big syringe that the New York Times and the Associated Press both suggested smelled like vinegar, which is not anthrax or anything like that. But we've got the audio for you coming up. And she said her behavior was peculiar. What she said was peculiar. The behavior of other people in the room peculiar. But in particular, her behavior was was, I think, peculiar under the circumstances. Let's go back to the phones, Michael. Let's go to Bob, calling from Tacoma Park, Maryland. Oh, Bob, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Oh, Senor Planty, how I do love thee. That story debunks itself. There's no way a sitting member of Congress, having been squirted with an unknown substance, would not be immediately subjected to some biohazard remediation. There's no way. If it could have been a toxin or a bio weapon, if it was a genuine attack, they would have immediately rushed her away for remediation. It's fake. On its face, it's even faker than the Jussie Smollett story was on its face, which was fake as hell on its face.
It was.
So.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
anyone who would take this as being authentic for a moment, it doesn't have much going on upstairs.
Well, I got the movements, the language, the behaviors. It looked like one of her staffers was sitting behind her in a row of chairs, a black guy, kind of a tall guy, and he was slow to get up, and then he took one or two steps toward her, and then he stopped, and he wasn't really responding. He was kind of fake responding, but this huge white guy with a shaved head rushed in and grabbed the nutty guy and pulled him away. But it was, Bob, among the peculiar elements of this is the guy stepped up, didn't really rush her, took two casual steps, squirted a big syringe of Italian dressing at her. According to the New York Times, the Associated Press, smells like vinegar.
Seven C's. Maybe it was 7 C's.
It might have been, and the I don't know if that would be halal, but I'll look into that. And what did Ilhan Omar do? She actually walked toward the guy.
Yeah. Right. Because you always step into an acid attack, don't you?
Right, and that was very peculiar. She walks toward him. The guy behind her got up and fake responded. The more distant guy, the shaved head white guy, big guy, rushes in there and grabs the bad guy. And there was no overreaction. Then she's saying, I was watching it this morning with the closed captioning, and I was taking pictures of the TV screen so I could get some of the back and forth and the closed captioning. And she's like, oh, no, we will continue immediately, she's saying. And then cursing, whatever the expletive deleted was. He's not going to get away with this. Well, he'd already been taken into custody by a big white guy with a shaved head, and somebody's yelling at her. Some then big guy with a beard, looks like a jihadi. He's got an earpiece in, came in and talked to her. And no, Ilhan, you need to go get check. You need to go get check. And when I see that in the closed, not checked out, but maybe she thinks there's a corporate check of some kind. Maybe there's a check for money. The back of the room, that's how she collects money. No, we will continue very bravely. Someone says it smells terrible, and she said, I need a napkin to know nothing. I need a napkin to know nothing. I don't think that's true. I don't think she does need a napkin to know nothing. I think she's known nothing without a napkin for a long time now. He sprayed something.
The napkin might know more. The napkin might know more than she does. It might be capable of absorbing knowledge in a way that she is not. Let me leave you with this, Chris. Let me leave you with this.
Sure.
If George Floyd had walked into an immigrant shopkeeper's establishment and attempted to buy something with a $3 bill, that $3 bill would have been more authentic than this attack on Ilhan Omar.
I got to tell you, that's pretty good, because George Floyd, of course, did walk in and pass a counterfeit $20 bill to an immigrant man who is a legal immigrant that Democrats don't care about. They just care about criminals who are robbing people and assaulting police, and then you're in good with the Democrats. From George Floyd to everybody, just go down the list of, good and pretty. And they love the good and pretty thing. One thing they have in common is they all assaulted law enforcement. And that's true going back to Michael Brown, hands up, don't shoot, Ferguson, Missouri. You got to be the guy that assaults the police, and then you become the hero of the Democrat Party, right?
It goes back to Trayvon Martin, doesn't it? Even before.
I'm nodding. You're absolutely right. Trayvon. Yeah, because George Zimmerman, who the New York Times said was a white Hispanic, because they didn't want him to just be Hispanic. They had to make him hateable, so they made him a white Hispanic. And, George Zimmerman knew that there had been a lot of burglaries in the area, and here comes Trayvon with his skillets and IT, as Al Sharpton described it, and the skillets and the IT. That's good stuff. But you're right, going back to that Trayvon Martin and to Michael Brown, who never said hands up, don't shoot. That was all a big lie. You attack the police, you attack the community watch guy in the case of Trayvon Martin, and the Democrat Party takes up your cause because you're the bad guy. And the cops are always the bad guy is the good guy, and they love the bad guy. But if you're the police, they declare you to be the bad guy and the criminal to be the good guy. Rolling Stones.
It's right out of the Bible. It says in the Bible, "Woe be unto those who call good evil and call evil good." And those are the times we live in right now.
That is a fact, Jack. That is a very good pull. That is great stuff, Bob. I got to tell you. That's wonderful. U.S. Capitol Police put out a statement. They said a man is in custody after he decided to assault a member of Congress. It's not the first time, and it looks like it's salad dressing, but an unacceptable decision that will be met with swift justice. That's a good idea. You guys should have. I remember when all those people attacked the White House for 3 days and set fire to the historic Church of the Presidents. Nobody did a day in jail. Nobody was sentenced to anything for that. And it went on for 3 days. 180 police were injured. The fire was set to the Church of the Presidents. They attacked everything, the Reagan Center across the street. And the Capitol Police said, we are now working with our federal partners to see this man faces the most serious charges possible to deter this kind of violence in our society. That's a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? That's probably something we should give some thought to. Isn't that great? And it's all very odd. There are a number of odd elements in the story. Where the guy was seated, right? Bob is sitting right in front of her, couldn't be closer to her. And then she is looking around, and there's video. Is she blinking her eyes? Is she making eye contact with the guy? She announces that ICE has to be defunded and dissolved and done away with. And then beyond that Kristi Noem must resign or be impeached. In fact, Michael, I think we have the moment. I think we have the audio of the moment where this happened. And here's Ilhan Omar, jihadi extraordinaire. And she's at the podium. The guy is sitting right in front of her. Nobody in the room is sitting closer to her than this guy who gets up and squirts her with Summer's Eve in a syringe and sprays on her. It sounded like this.
ICE cannot be reformed. It cannot be rehabilitated. We must abolish ICE for good.
Woo! Woo! They all say woo and they clap. Abolish ICE for good.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Now she's making eye signals. Here's the guy.
I don't know.
I don't know. You hear the calm in the room. A few people responding. And the guy, then the huge white guy with a shaved head comes in and wraps his arms around the guy and pulls him away. And that's the end of it. But here's the thing. The guy was already, he went up and squirted the vinaigrette salad dressing on her from a big syringe. And nobody's right there in the way of security. And he is immediately backing away from her. And he's muttering something, but it's hard to hear what he's muttering. And he is already backing away from her, stepping backward repeatedly. Step, 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 backward, 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 farther and farther away from her, while she is taking multiple steps toward him, which is not a normal fear response, a fight or flight response. She is walking toward him, and that makes no sense. One of her apparently staff people, a guy sitting behind her in a row of chairs, gets up and does a kind of a feint toward her like he's walking toward her, but he stops. And she just said, we'll continue immediately. And there's no concern of what, as you're saying, is that the Bob, what is the material? Is it a hazardous material? Is it acid? Is it what is it? Shouldn't we be checking to see what that substance is? That's not happening. They're not pulling her out of the room. They've pulled the guy away who was already backing away from her. Why was he seated in the front row and closer to her than anybody else when she is talking about Kristi Noem resigning or being impeached and being removed? Then the guy gets up. Was it on cue? Was this all I got to say, it. I watched it, and Bob, like you, I had immediate questions. Well, how does this make sense? And then you listen a little more carefully and read the subtitles, and you say, well, no, this is all curious. And why did the guy step up so casually, squirt what the New York Times and the Associated Press said smelled like vinegar? And then he's stepping backward away from her, and she's walking toward him almost like they knew each other or something. And it was all peculiar, Bob, and I think it should be plain for everyone to see that there are a lot of oddities about this.
Well, I think it's beyond having questions. I mean, I hate to be unnecessarily duplicative, but as I said, I think it is on its face just nakedly false, and it debunks itself. If a sitting member of Congress had an unknown substance squirted on them, they would immediately be, kicking in some kind of protocol. No question. The fact that didn't happen, it completely debunks the story. There's just no chance that they would have just gone on. She's not Teddy Roosevelt. This is staged. This is staged, and it's not even well staged. It's obviously staged. I don't even. It's not even a questioning kind of thing. It's a known quantity already. That was fake.
That was fake. Well, you're certainly not alone, and I can't. I want to wait until a jury of her peers judges her for the fraud that was perpetrated here, if that is in fact what happened. But it does have kind of a Juicy Smollett thing written all over it, and there were things all over the internet this morning. I don't know if you saw this, Bob, but people posting, "Oh yeah, the guy yelled, 'This is MAGA country,'" which is a Juicy Smollett reference, right? This MAGA country, 3:00 in the morning, Chicago, and an Arctic blast. That was completely ridiculous. Never happened, obviously, and this does look pretty lame. I've got to say. Bob, thank you for the call. Thank you for being a thinking person and for being skeptical enough to raise questions about this. And really, as I've said before, when it comes to the Democrats, it's impossible to be too cynical with these people. And I don't like being cynical, but they demand cynicism because of all the frauds that they have perpetrated again and again. And boy, have they perpetrated frauds again and again. Thank you, Bob. We've got more audio from the event itself coming up. We've got a woman who's freaking out. Oh no, the liquid! It could be salad dressing. What do we have here? And why do you squirt it out of a big? And it wasn't sprayed; it was squirted. Don't let the media tell you it was sprayed. Sprayed is like an aerosolized thing. This is even a spray bottle you can use, but it wasn't that. It was a squirt, and she acts like it's nothing. The guy is backing away from her. She's walking toward him. Did, as some suspect on the internet with video looking at her eyes and her face, did she give a cue of some kind to the guy in the front row who squirted salad dressing and then backed away from her immediately? All of that is pretty strange. And again, the New York Times and the Associated Press both said it smelled like vinegar. Could be salad dressing. What time was this? Was it lunchtime? Because maybe he brings his own salad dressing to work or something like that. We've got that. And we've got a Democrat that he's running for Attorney General of Ohio. He wants to kill Trump. That's right. And a Democrat woman, another crazy white woman, says that she's white, says that white evangelicals in the United States are a cancer and a cult. And they must be cut out. The Democrat Party They're going to fire on Fort Sumter again pretty soon. We're at 888-630-9625.
What is found on the young man, skillets and IT.
Yes, and we have returned. I've got some great audio for you today, and the news of the day. One of the big stories of the day is the Ilhan Omar incident in Minnesota yesterday. A man walking up from the front row, seat number 1, up to Ilhan Omar at the podium and squirting through a syringe what the New York Times and the Associated Press said smelled like vinegar, or maybe a nice light vinaigrette. And Ilhan Omar walked toward the person immediately, which is peculiar, as a big guy with a shaved head dragged the nutcase out of the way. Pretty nutty stuff. Let's go back to the telephones. I can see a lot of people want to talk about this. And today is also Mailbag Day. It's Mailbag Day, which is magically delicious. Let's go to Jim, calling from Naperville, Illinois. Jimmy, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. This is a perfect example of where radio excels over video, because you're able to filter out the noise caused by video and listen to the actual words said and how they're said. And this is a great opportunity for a voice stress analysis to be performed on Ilhan Omar and see what her vocal biomarkers indicate and whether she had an up pitch and stress. We have plenty of data, plenty of recordings of her under all different situations. And so somebody who's competent in this area should be able to do that rather easily, I would think.
Well, it's an interesting. Did you have some background in this or knowledge of the voice stress test realm?
No, but I did from audiologists in the past, environmental health and safety. We with audiologists, people that do sound analysis and that sort of thing. So I've heard of it before, and I think it's very reliable. It's been indicated as being very reliable. At least it would give a strong indication of whether she was suddenly put under immediate stress that she wasn't expecting.
Yeah, and I got to say, you got to examine a very, very interesting question to raise, Jim. I like it very much. And we've got a lot of questions having to do with the way this unfolded and her behavior. We need to get behavioral psychologists in here to study the body movements as well. Thanks, Jim.